All right, traders, in this video, I'm excited to show you how to navigate the charts and basically build chart templates so that you can customize the way you want your charts to look when you're trading. Now there's some toolbar menu options and there's some right-click menu options that allow for very flexible and user-friendly charting applications. Now, charting is one of the most important parts of a trader's business because we're analyzing the data and we want to look at the charts that make us comfortable. That means colors, that means settings, that means pretty much everything that we're visually seeing on a day-to-day basis. And in order to control the charting within the Tickblaze platform, we have a toolbar menu at the top, and we also have a right-click menu that you can access in the charts. Now there's a whole lot going on in here, but we've simplified them into a very user-friendly icon system, and we've made it very simple for us to right-click and find the different categories for us to navigate the settings. So let's go through the toolbar quickly at the top so I can show you exactly what each of the functions are. The first one is the trade pad, which enables you to be able to place trades and chart trading and basically visual drag and drop orders, which we'll be going over in a different video. The next one here is essentially the data series. The data series allows you to open up a window that allows you to change all your bar settings, your color settings. You have your bar colors. You can also change the flag colors of your chart pad so that when you're placing orders and you can see all of the different flags, you can customize essentially the chart data series on the chart. One of the big things you always want to pay attention to is the time frames, the bar size, and realistically the days to load down here. This is really important because what this allows you to do is it allows you to change your lookbacks from within the data series. Now you have a cursor here which allows you to basically create a cursor for you to basically visualize where you're trading. And then over here is all the different chart styles that we can populate at this time. You'll also be able to change from a candlestick chart to a line chart to a box chart to an open, high, low, close chart, etc. Now this one's very used by me. I know a lot of traders like to change their lookbacks on the fly without having to go into the data series. I particularly like this because if I'm looking at small time frames, I can literally just drop down to one time frame. If I'm looking at a bigger time frame, let's say dailies and stuff like that, I can easily just populate a much larger look back without having to go into the right-click settings and go into the data series options. Now, a big part of our job is going to be in the drawing functions. We're going to dedicate an independent video for this completely on its own because there's a lot going on in here and I want to make sure we give attention to that independently. The next one here is going to be indicators. We're going to go through the indicators in a separate video because there's a whole lot of indicators with custom settings, and we've allocated specific videos to break down both the draw tools and the indicators on their own. Now over here, you're going to see a chart panel. This is going to be part of this video because what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through how to change the background colors, change the grids, change the text colors, all of that stuff that basically makes us very comfortable with what we're visually seeing as a trader. You'll have the ability to come in here and see the data box. You can control all of the data box functions, and you'll be able to turn the data box on by going in here to data box and turning it on. And that will allow you to see the data as you go over the actual bars. Now this is the left and the right axis, or essentially the X and the Y axis, the way that traders preferably say it. The X axis opens up the settings for the lower section of the chart, and then the Y axis opens up basically the basic vertical axis on the right. And you have a zoom function here. And one of the things that I had built into the technology was a scroll on your mouse. I've always really enjoyed being able to just zoom in and zoom out using the scroll wheel on my mouse. So that's a faster function of these two buttons. Now, two things you're going to use a lot is loading your chart templates and saving your chart templates. And this is very important because once you build something, you don't want to have to rebuild it and then keep rebuilding it, especially if you want to move from one chart to another, or if you want to create a default layout, which I'm going to show you here in just a second. We're going to build a custom layout, and then I'm going to show you how to set it as your default across the platform. Okay. Now you also have an account drop down up here, and right now I only have one account. So if I went in here and I added a separate SIM account, we'll do that just for this example, SIM2, and hit OK. If I go over here to workspaces, you're going to see now I have a SIM2 account and I can basically trade that. You'll also see that that is equally matched to the trade pad. Okay. Now what we've done is we've done a quick overview of the toolbars. I'm also going to right click now and show you exactly what the right click menu does. You have the functionality of trading from the right click menu. You can also show your trade pad. You can turn it back on. You can show the trade pads below, which is your performance, your orders, and your positions window, which is basically a turn on, turn off function. You have the ability to move the chart all the way to the right or the left, bring it back with a quick button. You also have the ability to move in at the bottom scroll bar. You can basically go back very quickly, but we made it very fast and responsive. All you got to do is just click the bottom here and move the x-axis, or click the right and you can zoom it. One thing I always like too is if you hold the control key down and you just click on the chart, you can drag the chart like this. So just hold the control key down and you can basically navigate a custom viewpoint, okay? Now, when you go and you change the X or the Y axis, you can just hit this F button here and it's gonna bring the scale back to default. Now, as we go through the drop down, you're gonna notice you can buy limit, sell limit, you can put your stop loss orders in here. We're gonna go through the order management in a different video, but just know that you have that functionality on a right click menu. In the data series, this is essentially how you open up the data series here, which is ultimately the same button as we just went over here. You can just click it, it's gonna open it. You can show the session breaks. I'm gonna make it a little bigger here so we can see things, and I'm gonna open up a bit bigger window here so we have a little bit more data. Let's just zoom out so you can see this a little bit more visually. And I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna turn the session breaks on and off. I'm gonna turn the session high-low on and off. The market's closed, so it's not gonna give you the session high-low. You can open your position, show rollover. When you place trades, you can see your order text or your order markings. You can basically show pending orders. You can show the bid order, you can show the ask line, you can show the last price, etc. And all of these are just part of the data series functions within the platform, okay? Now, the bar types and the chart types and the lookbacks, we're gonna go through these in an independent video. I wanna talk about timeframes, bars, and different functions as we go through the training tutorial guides. But for this video, we're just gonna go down and look at some of the other settings, okay? As I mentioned, we're gonna go through drawings and indicators in a different video. And for this part, let's go into the actual settings. You can see I can turn on my crosshairs. I can turn on the grid lines and my horizontal vertical lines, which is sometimes nice and sometimes not. So it just depends on how you wanna view your charts. You can turn the watermark on or off. Let me just move this out of the way so you can see that a little bit more. I'm gonna turn the watermark on and off, which you can always see the market that you're trading. And you can get into the settings here, which we're gonna actually change right now so that you can start to see how we build a custom chart template. I'm gonna change this to a dark gray. I'm gonna change the text to a black, and I'm gonna hit apply. Now that's basically the starting point. You're gonna notice that the text down here, Tickblaze, is here. I can basically change the watermark color to essentially that as well. And there's the watermark. You can change the opacities, but for this example, I'm gonna leave it as is, okay? Now, if you wanna see the session break lines here change different colors, you go into the data series, you open this up, you go over to line pens, and down below, you're gonna see that there's actually a black marker. I tend to like to make these a little bit bigger so that I can see them, just like this, and we can get started. Now I'm gonna build a different color scheme for the chart just to keep it consistent with this example. I'm gonna double click the bars, and we're gonna go in and we're gonna turn the bar color. Let's say we wanna go to a navy, okay? And we're gonna turn the outline to black. Okay, I'm gonna come down here, I'm gonna turn this to maroon, turn the outline to black as well. And I'm gonna hit okay. And you're gonna see that I've basically just changed now, make this a little bit easier to see on a bigger time frame. I've changed the colors of my chart. I've changed the look and feel of my session dividers. And it's a little bit more visually appealing if I have a gray background and I have a little bit of a different contrasting bar color, okay? Now you can basically come in here and set more settings should you choose. You can go into the data box and you can choose to turn it on or turn it on or off with a mouse press. I don't really prefer to have it on unless I need it. If I want to go into the x-axis, you can basically control this. One thing that is very important is that you know how to turn on your local time zone. A lot of people wonder, hey, what's wrong with the time? It's basically set to exchange time, but if you want to show it to your local time, you can do that as well. And so I'm gonna go here and just turn it on, make sure that it's consistent with that. and you can turn these on. Now, if you want to go to edit, zoom, you can zoom in and out. And template is very important. We're going to talk about that in a second. But you're going to notice here that this switch to RTH and ETH, it's very important that you know that this is a very important function of the platform. If you have it to RTH, you're going to have gaps, right? And if you're trading a market that trades in the overnight, you want to always have it to an ETH session template, which is by design in the right-click function, so it's easy to find and you can easily navigate it. At any given time, if you ever feel that the chart has a data gap, or if there's something, an inconsistency, maybe things aren't working, or an indicator needs to be refreshed, or any of that, what we always tell everyone to do is just refresh the chart. It's going to pre-populate that data. It's always going to reload that data from the infrastructure in the database, and it's always just good practice to reload the chart. Now, once you have your chart template saved like this, or essentially built for the colors that you prefer, what you want to do is you want to save the template. Why? Because we've just gone through, 10 minutes of setting up a chart template. We don't want to have to keep doing that, right? So I'm going to basically save this as gray, and we'll call it blue, red bars for the template, okay? And hit save as. Now you could have done that up here. If I want to go and load a template, you can hit custom and there's the template, right? So if I wanted to essentially create a new chart, I could come in here, okay? I'm gonna drag it to the side and I'm gonna turn off the trade pad so you can see this. If I link this, you're gonna see that by default, it's defaulting to the platform black color, which is set by default. If I wanna load the chart template, I have two options. I could click up here and I could go to load, and then I can come into custom, turn it on here, or I can actually right click, go to template, go to load. Same window, just different way of getting to the function. Go in here and hit OK. And essentially it's going to load the colors. Now you can basically change the time frame back down to what you choose to be. And there it is. You've seen we've basically loaded the chart template for you to have easy access. Now, there's a hack, and we've designed it like this on purpose to be able to make things super fast for you, is that rather than resaving and reloading the template every time, if I were to go here and hit new chart, or if I were to come in here and add a chart, I would have to keep loading the chart template. So what I like to do is I like to go into the actual main control center under options, and I like to save my template as the master default. And what that means is every single time I create a chart inside of the workspaces on the docked layouts or the floating, I can choose the template that I want to load. And so we're gonna get in here, I'm gonna choose the chart template. I'm gonna go and find my template we just built and hit OK. And watch what happens when I build a chart for floating. I'm gonna just load a chart for a second. I'm gonna turn it to red. It's gonna load the template that we just built. If I go in and actually add another chart in here, okay, just like that, and I click on red, it's going to load the default that we built. And this is super fast, super flexible for you to be able to do this, because let's face it, you have a lot of charts to load, probably got a lot of monitors, and you want to make things super flexible, okay? Now you can put indicators on here. You could save them as an indicator template. So if I wanted to go in and I'm gonna delete this, give myself a little bit more space, right? If I go in and I say I want to add an indicator, I could add an indicator. I could add other aspects of different settings. Maybe I want to change one chart one color, another chart another color. You can create multiple instances of chart templates, but for the most part, it's pretty self-explanatory, going through the toolbar or going through the right-click option to be able to navigate the windows and the settings, okay? So if you have any questions on how to navigate charts, how to save your chart templates, how to set the master default in the platform, or going through the top toolbar or right-click functions, let us know. We'd be more than happy to help. Take care, traders, and we'll see you in the next video.